Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. My name is Muhammad Asrul Adli bin Muhammad Rusli from KAD1, and today in this video we will talk about the comparison and the contrast of the concept and approach of Tajdid in religion from the perspective of Imam Ghazali and Sheikh Muhammad Abduh. Our group member is myself, Muhammad Asrul Adli bin Muhammad Rusli, Muhammad Iqman Syafiq bin Muhammad Yusuf, Khair Ahmad Naufal bin Muhammad Khair, and Muhammad Hanif bin Jamaluddin. Let's take a look on the definition of Tajdid. Tajdid means to make new by Ibn Manzur, by Yusuf Al-Qadrawi. It defines Tajdid as leave what is learned from the Al-Quran and As-Sunnah and the matter, the things that are appropriate to both. He also explained Tajdid as an effort to restore something to its original state. Tajdid is done by strengthening something that is weak, repairing something that is worn out, and patching something that is cracked so that it's returned to its original form. In other words, Tajdid does not mean tearing down the first construction or replacing with a new one. Efforts to Tajdid does not mean to change the religion, but to return it to be as in the era of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the companion and tabi'in. Next, let's take a look on the concept of Tajdid. The basis of the concept of Tajdid among Muslims is based to the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam narrated by Abu Dawud, which can be translated to from Abu Hurairah radhiallahu anhu from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which he said, surely God will raise for these people on the beginning of every 100 years of the one who ordained for him his religion. Muhammad Al-Ghazali likens the process of Tajdid by referring to the acts of washing clothes. What is done to wash the clothes to be clean as new and not to change, add or reduce anything on the identity of the clothes to show the newness even if the dirt is still there. Tajdid also divided by two, which is physical Tajdid and Tajdid Maknawi. Physical Tajdid is a reform that involves external aspects. For example, renovating classic buildings such as places, houses of worship and mosques. Renovation from the physical point of view does not mean demolish of building, then build buildings according to the latest model on the old site. But what the renovation says to preserve the old building by restoring its original shape with all panoramas. While Tajdid Maknawi occurs in religion either in the form of renewal of understanding, Tajdid Fikri, or Tajdid Amal, which includes Tajdid Imani and Tajdid Ruhi. Tajdid Imani is a human need to purify the understanding and practice of Islam. One, it is stained by the element of ignorance. Next, let's take a look on research question. The research question of the research is, first, what is Tajdid? Second, what is Imam Ghazali's and Sheikh Muhammad Abduh's perspective of Tajdid? Third, what is the difference of Tajdid's perspective between Imam Ghazali and Sheikh Muhammad Abduh? The research objective for this research is to know in detail about Tajdid, to study Tajdid from perspective of Imam Ghazali and Sheikh Muhammad Abduh, and to investigate the comparison of Tajdid perspective between Imam Ghazali and Sheikh Muhammad Abduh. The research methodology that has been used to do this research is library and information science research methodology. The information that has been collected based on the methodology is through literature review, such as books, texts, articles, and e-resources, such as websites and blogs. Sources of information include in the writing are quoted using the USIM style. In accordance with the context of the study, this methodology can help to better understand, to study, and achieve the objective of the study.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Khair Ahmad Naufal bin Muhammad Khair and my matric number is 1191837. Now we go to the biography of Tajdid figures chapter. There are many great figures of Tajdid who have existed in this world. However, this study will focus on two Tajdid figures, namely Imam Al-Ghazali and Sheikh Abduh. Imam Al-Ghazali. His full name was Abu Hamid Muhammad bin Muhammad Al-Tusi Al-Ghazali. He was born in 1058 in Turs, near modern Mashhad in Khorasan, now called Persia or rather Iran, and died in 1111 at the age of 53. His academic career began in his birthplace in Turs. Later, he continued his studies at Georgian and finally at Nishapur, where his teacher was Al-Juwayni. He was appointed head professor of the Nimiah College in Baghdad and took the opportunity to master and critique the Neoplatonic philosophy of Al-Farabi and Ibn Sina. He was also the most important thinker and pioneer in Islamic philosophy and the history of human thought. Besides Al-Hujjah al-Islam, he was also known as Zaid ad-Din, which means ornament of faith, and Al-Mujaddid, which means a reformist, and also was counted on par with four Imams. Furthermore, he successfully conducted research related to philosophies and at the same time gave a discourse in the fields of fiqh and kalam. His success as an outstanding professor who chose to live a monastic life has resulted in him gaining more followers and critics in his time. After that, his best-known works include Ar-Risalah Al-Laduniyah, Al-Muqid min Ad-Dalal, Bidayah Al-Hidayah, and Minhaj Al-Abidin. Next, Sheikh Abduh. He was a scholar, jurist, and liberal reformer who led a late 19th century movements in Egypt and other Islamic countries to revive Islamic teachings and institutions in the modern world. He was born in 1849 in the Nile Delta region of Egypt and died in 1905 near Alexandria. In 1872, Sheikh Abduh was influenced by Jamaluddin al-Afghani. From there, it sparked his interest in theology, philosophy, and politics. In 1888, he began his career as a judge. Hence, he oversaw several reforms in the administration of Islamic law and religious endowments and issued advisory opinions to private petitioners, including several controversial liberal decisions. Then, he also served in the Legislative Council and did political preaching, cooperation with Britain, and long-term efforts to bring about legal and educational reform in Egypt. During his tenure as Mufti of Egypt in 1899, he implemented reform in Islamic law, administration, and higher education. In addition, he also sought to harmonize some thought such as mind and revelation, freedom of choice, and the ethical implication of religious belief over rituals and dogmas. To this day, he has been regarded as the architect of modern Islamic reform. Last but not least, some of the excellent writings from his relics have become standards in the Islamic world, such as Risalah al-Tawhid, Tafsir Juz' Amma, Risalah al-Raddi al-Dahriyin, which is a translation of the work of Sayyid Jamaluddin al-Afghani, and Sharh Naji al-Balagha.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Muhammad Hanif bin Jamaluddin. My matric number is 1191828. Today, I am going to present my part, that is, the comparison and the contrast of the concept and approaches of Tajdid in religion from the perspectives of Imam Ghazali and Sheikh Abduh. There are two types of Tajdid that were found. We will go one by one. The first one is Tajdid in the field of knowledge. In this field, Imam Ghazali did three Tajdid. The first one is he explained the level of knowing Allah. Imam Al-Ghazali divided this level into two levels. The first level is knowing Allah in Sama'i and knowing Allah by Dhuki. Knowing Allah in Sama'i is the first one, is to know Allah with the intellect through the knowledge of Tawhid as usual, either study at the primary school level or secondary school or university. This method must be based on two sources, Naqli and Aqli. The second level is knowing Allah by Dhawki. Knowing Allah in Dhawki is to know Allah by using the heart or soul. This method could achieve either through the practice of zikir and tafakkur, or explain with the eyes of the heart, or observation of everything that had impact in all creatures. Now, we go to the second tajdid. That is, he explained the difference between knowledge and ma'rifah. Imam Ghazali explained in more detail into four things. First, ma'rifah is the highest knowledge because it is the reality of knowledge. Second, ma'rifah resides in the heart, while knowledge resides in the mind. Third, ma'rifah belongs to internal knowledge, while knowledge belongs to action or external knowledge. Fourth, ma'rifah is obtained by doing specific practice, while knowledge is obtained through learning with teachers. The third tajdid thing in the field of knowledge done by Imam Ghazali is argue against ideologies that can damage the faith and belief of Islam. He criticized all of them, instead writing numerous books. Al-Ghazali criticized other theologians because of their methodology. He researched the philosophers' ideas, particularly Al-Farabi and Ibn Sina, and wrote a book about philosophy and the philosophers, that is Maqasid al-Falasifa. In refutation of the ideas of the philosophers, Imam Ghazali wrote Tahafut al-Falasifa. Imam Ghazali's book Tahafut al-Falasifa evaluates 20 ideas of philosophers in the aspects of Islam, 16 in the field of metaphysics, and 4 concerning physical principles. Imam Ghazali accused philosophers of being unbelievers, that is takfir, in 3 things. The first one is belief in the eternity of the world. The second one, the first, that is God does not know the particulars. And the third, denial of the resurrection of bodies. These 3 ideas were very dangerous for the Islamic faith and Muslims, especially in terms of their practical and consequence. And as for the tajdid performed by Sheikh Abduh in the field of knowledge, it was found that there is nothing specific in a certain field of knowledge or explaining in any division in the branch of knowledge. The second type of tajdid is in the field of educational management. In the field of educational management, it was found that there was no specific tajdid performed by Imam Al-Ghazali. And this matter is different for Sheikh Abduh because it is found that some tajdid has been made by him. The first tajdid in the field of educational management performed by Sheikh Abduh is doing the formulation of educational goals. In explaining the goals of educational, Sheikh Abduh relates the goals of one with another. In his plan, he specialized in each of every level of educational institution. He divided into 3 levels. The first one is basic level, that is Mubtadi'in. This level was a specialization to those who are illiterate, so that students can read, write and text, and can communicate very well. The second one is secondary level, that is Tabaqat al-Wusta. This level is to educate children so that they later can work as government officials, drivers or soldiers. And the last one is higher level, that is Tabaqat al-Ulya. This level is to produce teachers and community leaders high in quality. Those who have successfully completed their studies in this high level education are expected to become teachers for all levels of education. The main objective or goal or purpose of the education in general is to educate the mind and soul and enable a person to achieve happiness in this world and in the hereafter, as well be able to compete in mastering, developing and spreading the knowledge, and also be able to balance them with a high culture and ethics. The second tajdid done by Sheikh Abduh is in formulating educational subjects at every level of institutional education. The first is throughout the basic level. At this level, it is devoted to reading, writing, counting, and religious subjects such as Aqidah, Fiqh, Akhlaq, and the history of Islam only. As for the secondary level, it is devoted to Mantiq, that is logical theories and its mastery. Aqidah proven by reason and definite prepositions, Fiqh and Akhlaq, as well as the history of Islam. As for the high level, is devoted to interpretation of Al-Quran Al-Karim, Hadith, Arabic language, Usul Fiqh, Akhlaq studies, the history of Islam, the laws and its discussion, and Ilm Kalam. The third tajdid performed by Sheikh Abduh is through teaching methods. He emphasized understanding in each level, in each lesson given. Sheikh Abduh reminded educators and teachers not to teach students by memorization method because according to him, this method will only damage the power of thinking. He also emphasized the method of any discussion to provide deep understanding and comprehension to students. Based on the discussion above, it can be understood that there is a continuity between both of their tajdid performed by Imam Ghazali and Sheikh Abduh. Each of them has their own tajdid that are different from each other but have positive impacts and benefit to Islam and the Ummah. That's all from me. Thank you.